we thought it was going to sink the FBI. I mean, the CIA was very anti-FBI in that time frame, and they were in my corner. I mean, it's a well-known fact, they were really in my corner. So what we were doing was trying to prevent any more assaults on religion by the FBI. We were not, you know, leave the kids alone. Don't kill the kiddies. And that was, Mr. Clark is, in my opinion, a lot of people think he's the grand contrarian. He may well be, but and remember, I come from a Republican background, so when people talk to me about Ramsey, I tell them, look, he's got a halo. As far as I'm concerned, he ought to be, if I can get him canonized as a saint when he dies, I'm going to do it, because I think he's a saintly man. He's represented all the bad guys over, but they deserve to have the best representation they can get. Everybody deserves a lawyer. Okay, I don't care what you accuse people of, they deserve the best representation they can get. And I've known a lot of them over the years, including directors.
And what about Bobby Inman? What's he involved in?
He's reputedly MJ4, but whether he is or not, I don't know. He's a nice guy. He and I are friendly, so I don't say anything negative about Bob. I don't know anything negative.
So isn't he pro-disclosure? Didn't we hear that?
Well, we hear it, but you know, it's one thing to hear it, and it's another thing to do it. You know, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. So. What
about John Gannon? You know who he is?
Yeah, but
You think he's involved in Serpo?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of Serpo. You know, I'm kind of negative toward beyond disclosure and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
You're negative. What do you mean you're negative beyond disclosure?
I think that the people who that there are a lot of people out there that supposedly are pro-disclosure are nothing but MJ12 disinformation ops, and they probably operate under the cover of the DIA, who I have great admiration for. Also, I've never known those guys to be really bad, other than to do the disinformation thing. They seem to have a heavy hand in the disinformation game these days.
What about Benowitz? Did you know Benowitz?
Yes, yeah. We met him, and we thought that somebody had spun his loop and put him into a condition where...
Somebody. What about Rick Doty? Did he have a hand in that?
He obviously had a hand in it. Did he do it? Was Benowitz already on the slippery slope of mental disorder? I don't know, but apparently if he was, they made sure they greased the slope a bunch more. So I always thought Benowitz was a terrible crime. I mean, it's just a criminal activity.
Did you know Bill Cooper?
Yes.
What did you think of him?
I thought that he ought to... to be very blunt with you, I think Cooper was a patriot in his own way, but he was a bit more aggressive than I am and wanted to fight at every drop of the hat. He once threatened to kill John Lear over me, and I was there the night that he did it, and he thought that I was majestic, and that was just BS in the maximum. And so Cooper probably peed off the cops enough to get himself shot. So you know.
Well, he was heavily involved in outing Waco the way you were.
The difference between him and me outing Waco is I was actually physically doing it and putting it into the record of the case. I was actually doing the investigations that brought up all the crap, that, you know, burning them up and gassing them and shooting them and just basically murdering them.
When you say you were involved in the investigations, does that mean you do your own investigation, or do you have somebody do it for you?
I did my own investigations for Mr. Clark. Yeah, and I provided.
Does that mean interviewing people? Does that mean researching paperwork?
That meant everything. I interviewed all of Koresh's wives and got to talk about his sex habits and da-da-da-da-da, which was cute. And so, yes, I got to interview everybody, and I was well known for doing that. And I was very proud of it. And the fact that we lost is because it says something to do with our fascist judicial system.
So do you think that Operation Paperclip, they brought a bunch of Nazis over here? I mean, tell me you're not using some of those Nazis in your group.
Well, they're not part of my group. They're gone. They're